What is up, guys? Ivan here with getivan.com, and in this video we are going to be discussing the parabola flows and how to import them into your SignalWire dashboard for Google Sheets. More specifically, how to import the flows into your own Parabola account, but to connect those flows with your Google Sheet is more accurate. So under the Help tab of the Google Sheet template, you will see a Parabola Recipes column. Now, the first two are the import and export recipes. And then the third one is a single flow recipe that contains all of the other two. This one is really just for reference, just to have in the library. It's kind of a long story. What you really want to use, I wouldn't get too hung up on this one. What you really want to use are these first two. So let's take once you copy one, all you have to do is come to Parabola, make a new draft flow, and then click here and Control V, paste it in, and it will populate these nodes that are ready to be configured for your app. So before I discuss that, let's take a look at some pricing structures. And while we're getting there, let me also mention that it's probably a good idea for you to run this video at 1.5x speed so that you can get through it more quickly. And you can just pause it if there are things that you want to follow along with. Okay. All right, so when we're looking at Parabola.io and we're looking at the pricing structures, the prices are pretty affordable. For free, you can run 15 flows per month, which is neat. But you really want to be at either 50 runs a month or 200. That's kind of a good place to be at. If you infrequently, say, if you do larger runs infrequently, then $4 a month is pretty good. That's 50 runs per month. And most people are probably going to be, if you're using it a lot, like you're using the app every day, then you're going to want to be at around 16 a month. So the credit system is pretty simple. You can do under 500 rows per flow run for 1 credit each time. And most of my runs and my tests have been under 50 rows. So, and I've included page size limits into the app, so you can significantly limit the number of rows that you are dealing with every time you run your flows. In some cases, when you're sending a large number of texts, like let's say you're sending 1,000 texts, then obviously you're going to jump up to 2 credits for that run. But whenever you're doing anything at all, importing or exporting, you need to be mindful of, okay, am I getting as close to 500 rows as possible? Or if I'm going to be above 500 rows, am I getting as close to 5,000 rows as possible? Because you really want to make the most out of the credits that you're using, So I think that the $16 a month plan is pretty good because if most of what you did was fairly conservative, then you'd be using somewhere between, every import is a credit, every export is a credit. So depending on the number of times you imported and exported each day, I would guess that the minimum would be 2 times per day or 4 times per day, So you're doing it maybe once or twice per day. And at 2 times per day over a month, that's 60 credits. Or once per day, I guess, boom, boom, 1 pair. And then at 4 runs, then that's obviously 120 credits. So if you're running it 3 times per day, then you're basically using about 200 credits per month, or close to that. You see what I'm saying? So that might be how you want to do it, but you might be able to get away with this. And if you have a lot of VAs and you're doing a whole lot, then you're definitely gonna want to be at a bigger plan. But I would suspect that most people will be good here for a bit, and then you can always move up if you have a bigger need. So that's pretty much it for pricing. Let's move forward to the actual configuration. So once you've pasted a flow in here and you're ready to configure it, and all of these on the far left are import nodes. All of these on the far right are the destination nodes. And then all of the nodes in the middle are the API to some degree. This is the import or the export flow. In the import flow, there are 2 API imports, but the rest of them are enrichments, API enrichment. And then in the export flow here, most of them are exports, and then some of them are enrichments. And so the import obviously will pull data from the system using the API from the SignalWire system. The enrichment will do a variety. It depends on what the enrichment can do a number of things. And this one here, all messages, it does a couple of things at the same time, I believe. But the main idea is that you're kind of sending data along, and sometimes you want to place data into the sheet at the same time as exporting it up into the system. And so anyways, I won't get into explaining it. It works. That's the important thing. So anyways, to configure these, all you got to do is click these cogs and then click authorize, select your Google account that you've imported your SignalWire Google Sheet into. And then under file, you'll just need to select that file. Now, a quick note on this, you cannot save that file in a team drive. It has to be, if you're using G Suite like me, it has to be in your regular Google Drive in some place. And then you can select it here. And once you do that, another tab will pop open that is requesting for you to select the worksheet tab from the bottom of the sheet down here. And so you just need to match the name of that worksheet tab with the name of this node. They're all named to match appropriately. So you've got to do that for all of these, and you have to do that for all of these. Now, once you've authorized the sheet, you may have to select the sheet on every node. And so up here, there will be a drop down. You can click it, and then you'll see Google Sheets 1 in a parentheses. That is the sheet that you've authorized. It just doesn't name it that way. So a quick note on that. And if you do that, it might actually make it faster because I think it might save the name of the sheet as a preset, possibly the name of the file. Okay, so those have to be configured on the left. These have to be configured on the right. Now in the middle, let's click on one. You have to do a little bit more. You have to be aware of your space name at SignalWire. So when you make your SignalWire account, the access on the account is on a subdomain for your username. So when you're logged in there, then you will see, as we can see in my account here, you can see up here in the address bar, getivan.signalwire.com. So I'm not going to show a whole lot of things back here because there might be some sensitive data, and I'm just not really I don't want to accidentally reveal something and waste a bunch of time here in this video trying to cover that or whatever. So but just back here briefly, the important areas you need to be aware of are LAML. That is the LAML REST API, and that's where you can make bins and for XML instructions and stuff, and also the API. And so that's what we're discussing now. API is a place where you can, when you click there, you'll see a new button here, and you can create a login, and there'll be a username you can create with a secret, and the secret is basically a password. And that's what you need for this section here also. You basically, once you configure this information with your account information, so you will add your space right here. So in my case, I would say getivan.signalwire.com, And then down here in all caps, you'd also change account SID. So that has to do with, see, it says accounts and then account SID. That has to do with the specific project, I believe, that you are tapping into. So every parabola flow can only be configured to a single project. And I believe that they're calling that account SID. Now, I could be mistaken on some of the taxonomy, but I'm pretty sure, like here I've got select project, and I got a couple of tests. I got a test project, and then I got my main project here. And so this project, I believe, has an account SID somewhere in these settings. You're just going to have to dig around for it. It's probably not that hard to find. And then this one has a completely different account SID. And so they have to be configured differently. It's a really long story why that was built that way, but it's just, that's the best way to, that's the most convenient way to do it. So you set your space, you set your account SID for the project you want to use. And then down here under authentication, you have to select username and password. And then you have to enter in the username that you created under that API tab I was telling you about right here. And then enter in the secret under the password section. Now, once you do that, your browser or your password saving mechanism will offer to save that information. And so every time you go into an API, import, export, or enrichment, you can just click in this space and it'll come up with some options. You can just click and select it, and you don't have to paste it in every time. So that'll save you some time, but you do have to come in here and change the space, the account SID, and then you have to scroll down, click here, and select your login. Click show updated results to make sure that it saves. You have to make sure that you click show updated results. You don't have to wait. Just click show updated results, then click the X here, and then just keep going and just go. It should take you, I did it earlier, and this is actually my alternate account, which I have used to develop these templates. And it took me maybe 15 or 20 minutes. Well, it took me less time because I had already saved some of these credentials here. So I think it maybe took me 15 minutes. It should probably take you, depending on how fast you go, maybe 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes or so in order to change this, and this. And then you have to do the exact same thing on the import flow. This is the export flow. So once you have created the import and the export flow and all the credentials are configured properly, you can publish it, and then you can actually click, do some things over in your sheet, like maybe search for a local number, or maybe just do a regular import data from your system or something like that as a test. And you can run your flows always from the actual flow. When you click publish, it'll say run flow. And then you can kind of look back there also and see how many rows are being consumed if you want to get an idea of the how much heavy lifting it does as you're using the app. Now, once it's published, it'll also say there will be tabs here in this region, and different tabs when it's published. And there'll be one that says webhook in the middle. Just click on that one and request beta access, and then you'll be able to and give them a reason. They ask for a reason, so just say, I want to run my webhook from my bookmarks bar so that I can use it while I'm on my Google Sheet or whatever, and they should give you access. And so once you do that, I have a folder here called flow hooks, and I can click here and then click on my my bookmark and run my flow from my bookmark. So I can stay on my sheet and I can run the apps from a simple bookmark. It's just kind of a ghetto button, But I think that's pretty much it. You get your two flows configured, get your webhook configured, and then you're basically ready to use the app. Now, moving forward from there, you could make it. You could do even more with this, because there's a lot of different implements here inside of Parabola for sources. You can import any API, and you basically don't need to understand code very much at all. Like, you learn a little bit about JSON and how it's shaped, and you can look in these nodes and see how I've configured it, and that will basically teach you how to use API imports and exports and enrichments. And you can use another utility, which I didn't have to use it in this app at all, but there's another utility that you might sometimes have to use called the JSON flattener, which allows you to tap into certain parts of APIs really easily, and in cases where they may not have the utilities to do so as easily as would be convenient. Anyways, you can use these utilities that they've included, and the support is fantastic. They got to be the greatest support of any service that I've used. I mean, certainly one of them. They're very helpful and knowledgeable. But yeah, you can use these tools, and you can actually, like, see in this flow here, I can take this arrow and I could connect it to something else, somewhere down the line. So it doesn't have to end here. You can add on to this however you like. And yeah, I mean, we could talk about that for hours, but I think that basically sums it up. In this video, we covered using these, pasting these little codes from the Parabola Recipes section under the Help tab of the SignalWire dashboard for Google Sheets and Parabola, and pasting those into your Parabola account, configuring these nodes to integrate with your Google Sheets template and also with your SignalWire API. And at the end of that road, you basically have the ability to make changes inside of a Google Sheet document, and using a webhook that all of that integrates with your SignalWire account. And so you kind of have your own little private app and dashboard inside of a Google Sheet where you can buy phone numbers, send text messages, manage just all kinds of things. I mean, there's all kinds of things. The text message feature alone is worth time and the money spent, because SignalWire's rate for VoIP texts is extremely cheap. So hope you enjoy it, guys. I really appreciate your time, and I will catch you later. Make sure to check out the other videos, and I'll see you. Bye-bye.